I will start by introducing the members on the panel. First, we have Mr. Raghupati Mishra. He is Group CFO with Liberty House Group India. Requesting you to come on stage, sir. Everyone, can we please welcome our speakers with a good round of applause, please. Then we have Mr. Arvind Talan. He is CFO for Jet Freight Logistics Limited. Mr. Nitin Dadoo, he is CFO and Business Head with Contiloe Pictures Private Limited. Mr. Sheshadri Savalgi, he is Finance Director and CFO with General Mills. Mr. Vivek Iyer, he is Partner and National Leader Financial Services Risk Advisory with Grant Thornton Bharat LLP. Mr. Amit Agrawal, Chief Finance Officer with Aon India. And last but not the least, our moderator for this session, Mr. Senthilkumar, who is Chairman and Managing Director with SAVIC Technologies. Put your hands together for this esteemed panel. Thank you.
Can we get one more mic? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, everyone. The panel discussion, we have all power-packed CFOs from various industries and different experience. All together, we got around 150 years of experience of CFOs coming from different industries. That's a great insight we are going to get out of this panel discussion. We are going to look forward to how the critical assets of a strategic CFO in the various industries, how the organization to take next level with the strategic agenda on crisis management. These are the major thing we are going to talk about it today with all these CFOs today in the stage. Strategic asset for a modern CFO are people, processes, and system. Right metrics through established process for qualified people enable any modern day CFO. Push organization up in the value chains. CFOs are expected to visualize beyond day-to-day operational efficiencies and lead the organization to exponential growth. In that note, I would like to ask a question to Amit. Amit comes with almost two decades of experience with Tata, KPMG, India Bulls, G Group. And a lot of experience is having in that aspect. Amit, I would like to know how critical assets of your organization or various experience, what's your role in the strategic CFO we play?
Thanks, Senthil, for asking that question, and thanks to Empiric Business Media to invite me here amongst the panel. You're asking critical asset of a strategic CFO. I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is understanding of business and the entire, all the support functions. So first thing comes, the role of the CFO has transformed drastically over past few decades, I will say, but in the last 10 years, it has changed really. So gone are the days when we were doing just the accounting and other things. More than 70% of my time goes into business strategy. How do we make the business models? How do we, really drive those business models? So first thing that comes to, as I said, comes to my mind is understanding of business, finance, understanding of, strategic models, and then contributing towards that. So CFO has become a magician who has actually proved causal relationship between corporate strategy or business strategy and corporate finance a myth. What do I mean by that? Means earlier we were saying that, okay, this is the business model, this is the thing that we want to do, and CFO has to, and finance function has to arrange for funding. Now a lot of business model decisions are driven by funding, contrary to that. So what do I mean by that? The causal relationship has become a myth. Means it is a chicken and egg story. It's not only all of the funding is driven by how do we want to take a look at our business. It is also about how our funding situation is, what we want to do in the long run, where we want to invest, whether it is human capital, technology, this, that, and all of this is coming from the CFO office. So one thing that is understanding of business and strategy model. Second that comes to my mind is data. CFO has access to almost all, CFO office has access to almost all data. When I say all data means either the CFO office is creating those data or they are having access through various analytics and all. So data analytics is another critical asset, I would say. And third thing is understanding of teams. When I say teams does not only mean finance team. CFO has to understand the entire organization's team, what are their strengths, what are the businesses' strength, which businesses will grow. And I would like to give a very apt example for why a team understanding is very important for leaders. There was recently there was a news. I forgot the entire name of the coach, but there's an international swimmer. I think the name was Anita Alvarez, but I forgot the name of coach. This lady is an international swimmer. When the some competition started, and this lady started swimming, and she started drowning. Nobody could notice. Means swimmers do a lot of tricks, this, that. Nobody could notice that she is drowning, and the coach jumped into the channel, and then she saved her. And then she said, okay, she was pushing her limits since many days, and she got her limits. That jokes apart, but the coach knew exactly how how Anita used to move. If she is going to a particular direction, is it something wrong with her? If she was not saved in a more than 2.5 more minutes, she could be in trouble. Her life could be in danger. So what I mean by that, the coach understands the team, the coach understands the person. So all of us as a CFOs, as a leader, we should understand our team. How do we mold them, and then obviously pitch in wherever there is a critical situation or wherever there is a storm.
Yeah. Thanks, Amit.
Thanks.
Raghupati sir, you come with 25 years of experience. Amit said that about team is important, fundraising is important. That contact as a leader, how do you inspire your team and motivate your team to make it in the strategic decisions and leadership role?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Empiric Business. Hello, this is fine. Thank you, Empiric Business, for inviting me here. See, as a leader, what a leader does, he shares a dream with the team and make it a shared dream. Right? That, let's say, if we convert that into specifics, let's say we are at a 2,000 crores turnover company. If you want to achieve 10,000 crore turnover in 3 years or 5 years time, then the CFO needs to get all the team, this is the total business team. To understand this, our dream, our organization's dream is to get to 10,000 crores. We all need to share this dream and own this out. That's the first thing. First, we need to understand where we are going. Then only we can take action, steps. Then what are the stepping stones to go there? He has to articulate it. This is the turnover. This is the specific marketing area that we have to do. We have to focus on these markets. We have to have this kind of turnover. These are our competitors and all. So first, sharing of the dream and transforming that to objectives, and then making those stepping stones there. That these are the stepping stones, we need to go one by one, and one fine morning we will reach there. This is the job of a leader, which the CFO is in a very sweet position to get this from a dream to numbers, and then the stepping stones, and then get it communicated to the team. This is what is the role of a CFO.
Great. Thanks for the insights. Arvind, you comes with almost 24 years of experience with various industries and now into digital supply chain. And it's a key now overall in the economic perspective, and the supply chain is a very important things, critical things in the today world. Now, how your strategic decisions influence in your organizations in the last decades, wherever you work?
Thank you. Now, just to take it forward from there where you kind of ended your question, believe me, I mean, when I was with other companies also, like into logistics, we used to always joke, hey, where industry is going, where inflation is going, what is going to happen with the overall market size, blah, blah things. And I would always say, hey, look, in case logistic industry is doing good, it means everything is going fine. Like in Mahindra days, we used to say, hey, how many trucks we are selling in a month, that is more important than selling the tractors or vehicles or anything else. Because in case logistics is happening, in case things are moving, it means everything will be fine for sure. That's the main reason. Now coming to your specific questions, I love the basically title of this topic also, which you kindly gave to us. Storm. Can we really predict the storm? Can we really predict like COVID scene, whatever happened? Now there comes, I think, strategy. There comes the leadership. There comes the whatever objectives we have decided, finalized for the organization. Now, storm would be there. Now, would that CFO be the lighthouse, or it will be group of the people, or CFO would be having that convincing power to all the stakeholders? That's the question. Now, for me, yes, CFO is the lighthouse in that storm. Because CFO comes from that perspective where he can connect with each and every senior people in the organization, where they have got the common objective for the organization. Like Mishra ji was mentioning, there is common objective, and then we are drilling down different goals and the way to take it forward. So I think there, the role of CFO comes into the picture, where he can mention, hey, these are the right roads, these are the bad roads, these are the red signals, like Shah Sahab was mentioning in the morning. Wherever it is required, we need to showcase that red alert or alarm to the top management. And then over and above that, being into that strategy kind of council or leadership team, leading the team is also again very important, because the executive team, your roles are finalized, your objective is finalized, your long-term strategy is finalized. Now how to implement that? We have vision, we had one vision, hey, there may be risk of some storm, there may be risk of COVID, sometimes it may be projected, sometimes it may not be. But we know, what if in case a storm comes, what if corona comes, what if in case something extraordinary comes up? Are we ready with that? So these all are strategies where we need to put in place all the pluses and minuses. That would be my opinion. And taking from Shah Saab's, I think today's presentation, I was not sure how we can put break also, because that is the expectation from the market, from everybody in the field, from the CFOs. Like Goel Saab was also mentioning, you want CFO to do this also and that also. Shah Saab was mentioning in one slide of risk parameter. Mean we need to put the brakes also, which we are doing for ages. But same time, we need to start doing the acceleration also. And I was wondering, how come it is possible? I tried in my car and it was kind of something crazy for me. We cannot do brake also, we cannot do accelerator also. And to have that balance between both the things, I think that matters a lot. And from a strategic perspective, coming back again to the point, like in my earlier organization, we were thinking, hey, look, these are the challenges. Now, what the focus should be? Because we cannot focus on automation also, we cannot focus on top line also, we cannot focus on customer also. So there should be strategic priorities. Okay, first year, let us focus on my sales. Second year, let us focus on my compliance. Third year, let us focus on my profit margins. So I think those priorities should be finalized along with the top stakeholders, keeping top vision in the mind of the organization. That would be my point of view.
Thank you. Thank you, Arvind. Nitin, we spoke about fundraising, we spoke about data, we spoke about team, dream, and direction to the team. We talk about a lot of strategic decisions influencing it. You comes with 22 years of experience in telecommunications, media, plus consumer, life science, various industries. All this today CFO is not only CFO role they are playing, even they are ahead of the business, they are running the business. You said that you are running even sales also. That means it's not that easy as a CFO role today world, right? How you are managing cost effectiveness and productivity of the people? Are you using any tools for that kind of things with the various challenges today world you are facing it? How you are managing your margins and all?
Thanks, Senthil. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I represent currently media entertainment industry where we create content for the television, digital, OTT, and films. And there, clearly the key factor is the unit economics, how you are managing and bringing operational efficiencies. And as in the morning, Milan said that CFOs has to wear multiple hats. So it has to be tech-savvy, disruptive, strategic, where you are just aligning all your peers, what needs to be driven. And in our media entertainment, we have been observing when we create content, we do the shooting, you need to run parallelly multiple shifts. In case you are not able to track it properly, that's where the technology plays role, where we use some kind of softwares like QTech, which tracks how the director, DOPs, even the producer wants to see the shots. So those things, if you are enabling, and definitely that adds value to the storytelling as well, because storytelling also requires a different way to attract the audiences. So, so one cost which clearly hits to any shooting floors or even on the media entertainment space is the artist cost, and where you need to find out how you can reduce the man days cost in the post-production side of it also. So that's where, while doing brainstorming with the management, we decided Mumbai being a costly facility, so that why don't we shift to some other facility and train the people, hire them from the different universities where we can provide 6 months training and then bring down the cost effectively. And which can easily done nowadays with the many remote technologies are happening where you can impart training from Mumbai to the other facility which you are creating it. And those ways, you can always bring efficiencies and output wise, and we have always observing the things which can be managed within 10 man days, we are able to bring it down to 6 man days on the back of these kind of initiatives which we are regularly taking. And in the storytelling also, we observed that when you go to the competition, if you are having the end-to-end solution to it, from the production to pre-production to post-production, you realize if you are able to give full integrated solution to them, they will get the full business to you, and that's how we have been growing with that. And definitely my more than 60% time goes into the business development and also enabling the teams, to how we can kind of operationally efficiently bring those results.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you. Sheshadri, from you. You comes with majorly into consumer industries. You work with B&G, JJ, General Mills now you're working with that. Your business is more volume based. Globally you have to comply with a lot of things. In that scenario, how you manage effectively your resources and cost and other parameters?
Thanks, Senthil, for the question. So see, I think all of the panelists talked in terms of how the role of a CFO has changed, right? The gravity of the role has shifted more towards strategy versus being a very operational sort of profile. And so I have 2 decades of experience, mainly in FMCG. And I'll tell you a couple of things which why does the role of a CFO or in general finance, even the organization needs to recognize the role or the value of finance or the CFO. And I'll tell you why as well. See, finance is the only function which can completely zoom in any area of the business, right? For example, if you want to understand as operational as PO rate of a particular raw material in your company, it could be a 10,000 crore company, you want a particular rate or the trend of a particular raw material, the CFO will be able to have that. If you zoom out, take a business model, make a business model question. What should be the go-to-market strategy? What should be the portfolio which you want to launch in next 3 years? There also you will see that a CFO or finance will be in the best position to get a big picture view of the business. So if I were to give you an analogy, see, business is like a puzzle, right? It's like a maze, right? Where there are a lot of, you need to reach from X to Y. Now just imagine that that maze is life-size maze. All functions, they get blindsided. For example, let's take functions like sales, marketing. See, sales may not have a best view in terms of supply chain. What is the manufacturing cost? They might not have the best view. A finance will have much more better understanding of supply chain versus sales. Finance will have much more better understanding of sales versus supply chain. If you just ask any CFO in terms of the headcount, what is the productivity, where the resources are required, he will be able to give all those answers maybe in a much more prudent or much more balanced way versus it coming from, say, because supply chain would not understand sales to that level. Of course, they will understand the logistics piece, but they might not understand the organization piece. IT, I think, particularly what is required from a resourcing standpoint, again, finance will be in the best position to understand. For us to go for the organization to, say, become 2x, 3x, what are the capabilities which are required for organization to grow at that level, right? Again, you will see that finance will be in the best position to do that or to have that picture, right? So when we say senior management, or let's take even the business leader, a business leader relies a lot on CFO or finance when they are setting the objectives. See, you need to be balanced when you are setting an objectives. I have always believed in having bold aspirations. Otherwise, it's no fun. See, in India, across you will see India will be called out as a top market by all the organizations. Go to any organizations, go to PNG, Unilever. So I worked in 5 global organizations. In all the 5, India was a called out priority market, right? Everyone wants to invest in India. That's true for everyone. But what happens is it's also difficult to win in India because the market nuances are not, or I would say is very different versus other markets, right? So to that extent, I think finance or CFO needs to have bold aspirations, or he needs to ensure that the organization takes up bold aspirations, but also there is a sense of realism to the target they take. See, it's easy to say that you need to grow 5x. See, 20%, 15% growth, frankly, the expectation is for India, if you take a lower growth than 15% or 20%, it's considered that you are not gunning for a higher target, right? That's how the expectation from globe is on India because of the growth, macroeconomics, everything. So hence, I think CFO plays a balancing role where he ensures that the objective or the strategy which the organization is taking, one, it is deliverable, but then there is a right amount of stretch in that number. The aspiration has to be bold, but then it also has to be achievable. So both need to go hand in hand, and hence a CFO plays a very critical role in terms of aligning the strategy of any organization, leave alone, because he has that maximum visibility and he is in the best place to do it.
Thanks, Sheshadri. Vivek, you comes with 18 plus of years of experience, fintech, insurance, and financing domains. Hearing all this thing, what do you think? What are the drivers for revenue growth?
The key driver for revenue growth is always, personally, in terms of I've felt and having looked at different organizations and also in terms of hearing different people, aligning the vision of the organization to the strategy and the execution of the strategy. These are the three different themes. Bringing them together, aligning them together is something that helps your organization achieve the desired results. And the most difficult part is that this responsibility is of the CFO. Now, if you actually, so I'm a chartered accountant. When I did my CA, I thought the role was accounting. I studied tax, I thought the role is tax as well. Then I looked at financial management, I thought, okay, that is also probably a part of the scope. I got onto the real world and I realized that the role is not really defined. And that's the difficult part and as well as the exciting part. So, incidentally, I was just talking to Amit right now. And Amit and me have known each other for many years. And he's a CFO with Aeon today. And before, when the organization started off, we used to do the internal audit. Amit was very hands-on. Governance was the key agenda that he was driving. Today, he drives the transformation agenda. If you go to see, it's the same CFO. One point in time was driving governance. Today is driving transformation. Why? Because the role of the CFO keeps evolving with the size of the organization. When you start off, the organization decided that the most important thing for them was governance, because they wanted checks and balances on themselves whether they're doing it right. They said, we will do the business, but we want to do it right. And to implement those checks and balances on yourself as a priority. That was interesting, because as I was working, I was learning in terms of how the priorities evolved. Today there is a huge transformation agenda going on. 80% of his time is spent there. He's just being nice by saying 70. 10% he doesn't account. Those are extra hours he puts in. But in terms of the role kind of keeps evolving, and aligning these things becomes important. So we spoke about aligning vision to the strategy and execution. Now there are 5 levers that actually apply here. Governance, people, process, technology, and organization. The 5th piece, that is organization, is about driving synergies within the organization, getting people to work with each other, understanding the mixes. It will be very surprising. And I'm sure that each one of the CFOs, at some point in time, not some point, I think every morning they get up and every night also, they potentially feel like psychiatrists. Because a lot of time is spent in understanding people. Like someone is saying something, and it's a very interesting thing. A person may say something. The CFO is not listening to what he's saying, because what he's saying he already knows. He is trying to understand why is he saying this. And why does he have so much conviction in what he's saying? Now a significant amount of time is spent in the whys, not the whats. And hence as a result of that, a lot doesn't come out in the function. So according to me, the most difficult thing for any organization to do is hire a CFO, because how can you describe his role? Because it's broadening. As the industry evolves, the role of the CFO will evolve. I will not be surprised if each one of them are going to become tech guys. Because as your business changes, as technology adoption, trust me, ask each one of them in terms of what is your view on data, technology, what are some of the good systems available in the market. In your head you will think, CFO, I'm sure, is this the right question? Try asking, you'll be surprised with the answers. Because as the market evolves, the CFO evolves, and he doesn't ask. And that's one of the biggest things that I have kind of seen organizations in terms of go through. For me, the only advantage I have being in a professional services firm is that an ability to work across different organizations and to kind of pick up wisdom. The role, there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. People use it interchangeably. This role requires a lot of wisdom. What is the expectation? To know every accounting standard, every corporate law, every particular law that was written? No. It is, knowledge at the end of the day is what? It is common sense codified into different documents. You read, you apply your knowledge, then you realize it's a waste of time. Then you apply wisdom, and then you realize that's where true business is. And that's where you become industry shapers as well, which is also one of the responsibilities and they have. My objective here, and I'm the most misplaced to talk about leadership, but the only reason I can talk about them is because I've had the privilege and the fortune to kind of have observed each one of them and many different stalwarts like them do their job effectively, and end their day with a smile. When I would be actually in terms of pulling whatever balance hair is left on my head. So that was it.
Wait, continue to that. Since you said the organization is one of the key elements in that, what do you think you consider to be a strength and weakness of any organization in the digital world?
The biggest issue that any organization can face today is not having the ability to adapt. That I think is the biggest holdback. We are in a technology world today. There is digital application. 90% of our initiatives on the digital side fail. Now, if you are married to the idea, it's very difficult because you will continue on a path which will only lead to failure and more failure. But if you can actually say that, no, this doesn't work, let me change, let me adapt. That is the biggest issue. It's not about, oh, I don't have the right team, I don't have the right skill set, or I don't have the market, or there is too much competition. Trust me, there is no competition. I have been, just to share my own example, I've been with EY, I've been with Deloitte, I've been with PwC, now I'm with GT. One of the things I've learned about through this journey is it was never about the competition. It's about what is the difference you can make. And if you have strong belief and you're able to make that difference, that genuinely matters. And that can't come unless you are married to reality and ready to adapt. And which is why if there is challenge in you adapting to changes, that's the biggest weakness. And the sad part. There are many case studies on this. I'll not quote. The room's far more well-read than I am, but that's...
Thanks, Vivek. That means a key takeaway for us is a change management and adoptions and acceptance. That's the key thing. That note, Amit, how strategic decisions and robust leadership go hands on hand?
Thanks again for asking this question. Strategic leadership, when we say, we define the strategy, and I think thanks for highlighting, Vivek, how CFO role has been changing, and I think Sheshadri and Arvind also talked about a lot of initiatives have been driven by CFO office. Personally, my experience has been almost every initiative, organization-wise initiative, if there's a business model initiative, what we are going to do, any growth initiative, business strategy, if there is any technology, where we want to invest into technology, where we want to invest into human capital, everything has been, driven by a CFO office. So one thing is obviously decision making, strategic decision, whether we made some decision, okay, this is how we want to go. How do we transform that into a plan? And how do we really provide, the second word you used is the leadership, robust leadership. So what is leadership? Leadership, in my view, is all about two things. Only two things, and that is very evident from the topic of this interesting panel session, Lighthouse. So two things are, what are the two things? One is that showing the way, leading by example. So, one is that, and second is standing firm. Means standing firm is actually the leading by example. So these are the two things that Lighthouse does. You see, when a storm comes, first thing, it stands firm. It stands there. It tells that it will pass. It has come, it will pass. So it is leading by example. And second thing it does, shows the way. It puts the light and shows where to go. So these are the two things that leadership is all about, I feel. And when I say, okay, when you have a robust leadership, decision is made, how do you really put it to the execution? So, and again, Vivek mentioned about adoption. Today, a lot of businesses are finding the need for adoption, how technological changes have to be adopted, how this new world order has to be adopted. So one is the communication again, I will say, and communication, most of the communication from CFO office makes a hell lot of difference. And second is putting the plan to the execution. And I think every plan can be executed well if you put your money where your mouth is. So, yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Amit. Arvind, so we spoke about plan, strategy, and decisions. and many things happen in the organization, right? Year beginning and mid-year kind of thing. How do you track this, all these things? Every organization does various ways and doing the things. You need to be on track of what decision, what strategy you are making.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think for tracking the organization goal or deliveries or whatever budget, whatever objectives we have got, I think everybody in the room would be aware about the PDCA approach and different mechanism. But believe me, the way things are changing, the way things are evolving, IT is very important. I personally feel maybe it may be contrary to Mr. Shah's opinion. Yes, IT is very important, at least to track the things. Because earlier what would happen, because I still remember maybe 20 years ago or maybe 18 years ago, to find that 1 rupee difference in trial balance, it killed my whole night. Now at least you need not to bother about reconciling the trial balances and GLs. So everything is coming up. And even my earlier organization, we used to finalize the books of accounts maybe by next month's 15th day or something. And then we took some P1 kind of target, project 1. And then slowly from 15 days to 1 day, we could come up with the help of IT, obviously, within a few years' time. What I'm saying is, we know what are the objectives. We know breakup of all those objectives. We know what to deliver, how to deliver. We are aware. We are part of senior leadership. We can visualize the risk. We can visualize the exceptions. Everything is there. To track that, yes, with the help of IT, with the help of leadership. Leadership is very big word, I would say. It would take care of your proper communication also. And communication is again a big chapter or big topic to discuss, because it's kind of circle, whether what we want to say, what CFO or some other senior partner you want to communicate with, whether he is understanding the same way, the way CFO is visualizing the things. So that proper communication at proper intervals about all the gaps and what is the strategy to mitigate those variances, if any, or to replicate the best practices, what's happening in the industry or in the market, and then to communicate to not to the top management, but also down the line to keep the team also with you to deliver those results. I think that would be the key steps for me.
Thanks, Arvind. Sir, to you. We spoke about team motivation, dream, directions and everything. And communication also we spoke on that. Communication is important for every role in any organization. As a CFO, it's an ultra critical role, I think. How do you manage? Do you use some tools or methods? How you make it more effective to reach the strategic decisions and influences to meet the organization?
So what you are saying is that what the CFO need to communicate and how? See, CFO, the communication has to be crisp and clear from the CFO to the internal stakeholders and to the outside stakeholders. The most important communication the CFO has to do for the internal stakeholders is that, very basic thing, that we are in the business of business here. And this is very important. Kindly mark my words. We are in the business of business here. What happens? My marketing guy comes to me, marketing head, and say, my TOMA is 36%, I need to increase to 52%, and here I am 76%, I need to be dominant there, for that I need these interventions and all. The sales guy wants to see that this product I need to launch here, so I need a critical budget for launching and all. Here there are 2 competitors who are coming, so our market share is going down, I need to be here. Like HR guy says that I need to be the best place of business, so I need to do these employees interventions to get into and all. So all of these are true, we need to do that. But at the end of the day, we need to earn profit. We need to create wealth. This is what we are here for. If all of these are falling within this of maximizing wealth and earning profit and maximizing wealth, then it's fine. That jigsaw puzzle need to be made here. This is the basic communication CFO has to continuously give them like a lighthouse internally, that this is our main work. All other things are side dishes. Right? This is the communication the CFO need to be continuously doing. And it's not an easy job. you are the bad guy for doing that. And that onerous responsibility of being the bad guy falls on us, and we are comfortable with it right now, right? So we have been doing that, and we will continue to do that. So that's how it happens. For the external world, to the investor, to the financiers, to the suppliers, to the customers, you need to give this communication that this is what we are planning to do for these 5 years or 1 year or so. And we are in the course of doing all these things. And the company is in the right hands. And we are doing what we need to do and some more. So this confidence, they have to take from CFO.
Yeah.
Because that's the most legitimate person who is talking.
True.
When he is saying, I will achieve 100%, he is already confident that he will cross 110%. Then only he will say 100%.
Great.
This is how we are, right?
Yes.
So if I am saying that 100% हो जाएगा, तो मुझे पता है 110 तो होना ही है.
होना है.
तभी जाके बोलूँगा मैं 100. So this is how you communicate very crisp and clear to the people, and that's how the organizations, you can say the reputation and all keep intact, and you grow.
Effective communication and key
Correct.
message is very important. In the
Very crisp and clear and positive.
Correct.
This is how we are. And internally, you need to be, at some point of time, even if you inspire and do, see, there are many interesting versions that you are saying. Here, you see, you think that these other operations and all the things are teenagers and you are their father.
correct.
So sometimes you need to give them that whip.
Right.
And also you need to handhold them to be responsible individuals when they grow up.
Correct.
So that's our job, the father of teenagers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nitin,
1 second, only 1 second. Last week, I was with Mishra ji on some conference, same kind of thing. And we were talking about something cash flow. So Mishra ji ne finally, he concluded like, bhaiya, bottom line is ke sabse bada rupaiya. So,
So just to add to this, that reminds me, one of my coach, I would say, said once, if you are liked by all, then you are never a good CFO. So CFOs are never populists. So.
yeah, Nitin, thanks for that notes. And what is the biggest asset that you bring in your role as a CFO?
What are the?
Biggest asset you bring in your role?
Okay, so basically, I just want to recap my journey. So during my Walt Disney tenure, so in the review meetings, board meetings, generally, I, like any other CFO, we used to ask tough questions, why there is a deviation, why there is no growth happening. So I used to get many times the response, sir, when you go to the ground, you will know the realities and that stuff. So I'm like, okay, so when in the immediate, in a year's time, I got an opportunity, I became a distribution head, saying that let me go and meet the customers and interact with them. And trust me, it changed my perspective, of the business, because sitting on the boardroom and asking these questions, maybe, that requires some kind of other skill set. But when you go on the ground and meet your customers, whether it's related to selling your product, so okay, what challenges these guys face on the ground, and that's where I started getting to know more insight into the businesses, meeting customers, and since we said, the advantage of CFO is always that you have access to all departments. So you need to go then meet the product team, programming team, research team, and try to find out the best solution so that these guys, what challenge they face on the ground, you can able to solve it. And that's where, this kind of my business knowledge help to grow the business, because coming with a finance background, you can always challenge the sales team, when they try to fool you with some kind of business model they're coming without thinking on the sensitivities which can come later on, So one can't be, looking for a short-term approach, but it has to be long-term point of view, how that business can grow and what kind of bottlenecks it may come. So those aspects where mix of your finance business knowledge can really add value to the whole ecosystem. And that's where in the current company also, when I joined originally as a CFO, but then I took over as a business head as an additional responsibility to bring out some new business model which can bring from the day one as a profitable business growth. Because that way, you know, when you start working in that zone, because sometimes your business teams may not be looking, your peers may not be looking that aspect which you may foresee in your other role. So that's cross-functional really helps to grow the business.
Yeah.
That's the
Thank you.
biggest set, I
Thank you,
think.
Nitin. Sheshadri, last. What are the key factors CFO should keep in consideration while in the crisis?
Yeah, I think, what the pandemic and nowadays the situation in terms of inflation and all these things have done is, I think organizations are really realizing the importance of a CFO, right? Now I'll try to not give cliche answers in terms of during a crisis what a CFO does, right? See, and why a CFO becomes critical is because, see, a CFO is able to understand the risk profile of the business, right? He is the best person to understand if XYZ happens, if there is a external environment change, what is the impact of on the business. A CFO is in a position to do that. Hence, the first thing happens is, or the first thing a CFO needs to do is in any crisis, he needs to know that the crisis is coming and what's the impact of it on the business. Because, see, so crisis comes for majority of the organizations or majority of the industry. The way you react to the crisis is what either contributes significantly to the organization or it impacts or erodes market share. Now, even in terms of the pandemic, see, there are many companies who have actually grown significantly in pandemic, right? And let me take even our own example. So all the food companies, FMCGs, had one of the best results during pandemic because it was in-house consumption and a lot of things were there. And the companies which managed to come out good were those who managed their supply chain disruptions in a much more effective way. Because everyone was impacted and the entire supply chain was disrupted. But who managed to able to at least get their product to the consumers, they were the ones who gained market share. Now, as a CFO in a crisis situation, you need to be able to articulate what decisions are required and what resourcing has to be done. Because like in our case, so General Mills, I'm not sure how many of you would know. So Pillsbury is the flagship brand. And a big chunk of our business is B2B business, where we sell premixes to bakeries across India. And we are the market leaders in that. But come pandemic, what happened? Bakeries were shut because they were not part of the essential list of products. So I had my manufacturing facilities. So roughly 50% of my business was shut. The other 50% of the business, which is your retail atta, consumption went through the roof. I'm sure everyone would have baked cakes at your home because we have retail cake products where you can bake with your family, with your kids. So 50% of my business completely shut. The other 50% I am not able to supply because the demand has become 2x, 3x. That was the issue which we faced. Now, see, it's cliche to say that every crisis brings an opportunity. The CFO needs to actually articulate the opportunity and then put the resources behind that opportunity. So the first thing which we said is not a single consumer should miss either a cake mix or the retail atta. The share should increase with this. And hence you will find solutions like all the QSRs supplying essentials. If you actually see, there were many QSRs like, say, the Domino's and all this. They started during COVID, during lockdown. They were supplying essentials like atta and stuff like that. Because from their standpoint, they were managing their fixed cost. And from our standpoint, we were able to make the product reach to the consumer when the distributors, etc. were impacted. E-commerce increased. So we shifted or pivoted our resourcing towards e-commerce, towards these new channels. For the B2B side of things, we accelerated our digital journey by easily 3 years. Because some of the projects which we could not have done when the business is running, because the entire ecosystem, so we knew that in the entire ecosystem, the distributors were pretty much available. The bakers were pretty much available because they also had their shutdown. And our sales organization, like 50% of my organization also had time. So the best thing we did was, let's accelerate the digital journey. Let's digitize whatever we have in the B2B side of things. So now when we have come out of it, I have a much more resilient and a stronger B2B business where I am able to gain market share because I invested there. And I have also gained share when I was able to deliver. So now these things, a CFO is in a position to tie all these things around a crisis situation.
Thanks, Sheshadri. The key focus area of CEOs, based on the discussion today, we looked at it, identifying fundamental of business drivers, insight across business value chains, right talent pool, nurturing vibrant culture within the organization, value-based insights among various team members with effective communication. Effective communication is very important across the organization by using cutting-edge technologies, data point, and various tools and methods which you used for this, making the strategic decisions and making the objective achievable, and also the bottom line healthy. That's a key role of modern CFO as of today. We got a lot of insights and great information from all of you. Thank you very much. I would like to appreciate your time and coming on the stage, and let us put our hand together. Thank you very much.
So 2 thoughts I just want to share with you. So Mr. Ji, what you have said about market was bad, is bad, will remain bad. Please deliver what you promise. This is what CFOs every day has to talk about.
किसी को तो बोलना ही पड़ेगा ना, नहीं तो कैसे चलेगा सर?
Yes, sir. Second thing, we talked about a lot of things. Sir, we are not avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu that we know everything. At least I am not. What I can do is that in an orchestra there are so many musicians are sitting, they are experts. But there is a person with a small stick in a hand. He knows how to move that stick so that a symphony can come out. This is what CFO can do.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much to all our speakers. We would request you to come so that we can take a group picture. Can we have a round of applause for all of our speakers? Thank you.